Should I do my countdown?
You always do this. You know
I'll do the countdown.
It's already started. This is ridiculous.
All right.
Everybody, welcome back to the B Plus Podcast, Nasum, episode 25.
All right, let's do this.
Did you ever think we'd do 25 episodes? We probably should have 50 by now.
Yeah, I mean, we took a good 2 weeks off, maybe a little bit longer.
We'll be back. Just so everybody knows, we are currently on iTunes finally, and we are on Google Play Music, along with SoundCloud, Pocket Cast if you have Android, Stitcher, and Anchor, which I'm a huge fan of. Anchor is where we migrated some of the the whole podcast, just to have another channel to distribute. So we have SoundCloud distributing to a couple places, and then we have Anchor distributing to a couple places. So we kind of went pro. So we need to get our act together and get on this more.
This week. Anchor is pretty cool, though. I will say that Anchor's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So we've gone pro. So we're gonna try to be more consistent here. So we were talking about our topics for today, and I'm gonna lead off because I've started, instead of when I was younger, I watched Dragon Ball Z, which I'm sure everybody else did. And that was my first and last introduction.
Why was it last?
Well, that was my first and last anime. I don't know. I never
finish it?
No, I watched it, just as a kid.
Till when? How far did you get?
Boo Saga.
Yeah, I quit around Boo. So
yeah,
it was cool watching it on Toonami. On what was it? Like it was part of just the Cartoon Network. Toonami was like section. So like I get home and I just watch DBZ, and there'd be some other stuff on there like Gundam, and it was good. And then I just started watching anime like a whole lot, and I did for a very long time until eventually I think like television series and movies started to creep in. I couldn't do both. So it's even like today, my DVR over there is at like 90%, and I have all this stuff I want to watch. I belong to Netflix, other streaming sites, and it's an overwhelming amount of things to be able to watch. I don't know what I want to be able to do first. And you were just talking today while we were on a walkabout.
Well, I found out through my buddy that this anime, which I heard a lot about. Well, let me finish. But don't forget, when Dragon Ball Z was out and when I was watching it, it was
in the 1980s.
It was in the 1980s, and we didn't have any DVR or anything, so you had to catch it. And if you didn't catch it, you missed one of Goku's, because that's how the episodes went. It went like Goku took one step, and then it's like next time on Dragon Ball Z.
And I was like, oh god, I can't wait to watch the next one. And then I
took another step.
And then it would be like, oh my god, it was painstakingly slow. And I don't know if they ever really realized to like remedy that. But I remember the Frieza saga just being like if the one last day in the Frieza saga took as long as it took to air like every like 5 days of a work week, right, on Toonami, it was just ridiculous. Like I remember the planet, it was like the end. Okay.
Yeah.
And it took like 70 episodes just for the last day to pass. So like even the last day wasn't even 24 hours, whether they would have had that cycle there at that part of the universe. And Goku was always coming back from something.
He's always dying.
Yeah, so he's dead, but he's on the way back. And when he gets here, he'll save us all. But in the meanwhile, we got to do something to stop what's going on. And like I was just like, ooh, wow, this can go on for a very long time. And yeah, I agree with you. It was a weird intro.
I loved it, but it was just that you had to catch it, and then if you didn't, you didn't see it, and you're a kid. So like, say it was on like Saturday mornings or whatever, you might be outside playing or whatever, so you miss it for the entire summer, those 3 month span, because you're outside and hanging out and doing whatever. And then, you can't come back 3 months later. You don't even know what the hell's going on. But anyway.
Or would you? Or would it take 3 months just to get through? Like a couple, you're like, oh, I'm going to watch this in a month. I know exactly what's going on. Oh, he's not back yet? He's still not back? Really?
Yeah. That's actually true. You would literally turn it on a month later, and he'd still be running on that like Dragon Road or whatever it was.
Goku's still on the Dragon Road. He's still dead. He's coming back, and look, he's here. He's eating a bowl of rice. He'll eat so much. That's so funny.
So when I was in college, I wanted to watch stuff because there was a couple of cool things on. I in college, I bought a couple mangas. I bought Naruto, which was pretty cool. I bought Bleach, which was cool, and Bleach is another big one. But my buddy texted me and said that on August 25th, Netflix was releasing the Death Note live action movie, the Americanized version. Yikes.
Not to be confused with any other live action for Death Note. This will just be an American live action Death Note.
Right.
Yes.
So he sent me that, but then he also sent me I think it was a tweet, and the guy goes, I watched the trailer for Death Note. It looks really good. I decided to watch Death Note, the actual anime. The trailer looks like trash now.
No, doesn't. I didn't see it.
He went in, he's like, this looks great. And then he watched the Death Note, all the episodes, and then he went back and watched the trailer.
And he's like, ooh.
Yeah, he's like, this trailer's trash.
That was a bad move.
So I took it upon myself because I wanted to watch it back then, because I think Cartoon Network would air them at like 11 o'clock at night. So when I was in college, I would just turn it on, and I didn't really know what was going on. But
there was this weird disconnect when like Toonami and the anime stopped, and then like Adult Swim started, if you remember that. Yeah. So like one ended and the other one took over, and they would be selective what they want to shoot. In fact, I remember an odd thing happened. I think what was the cartoon haha show with Peter Griffin? What's what they're called? Family Guy?
Yeah.
That had its one season and it ended and it was over. And Adult Swim played it and it got picked up, and then it became what it is today, only because they re-aired its one season.
Yeah, and everyone was caught on. I think they had high DVD sales.
That might have been it. Yeah, I mean, whatever happened, I thought it was an odd thing to have happen. I thought they were going to do the same thing with Futurama, but I don't know if it came to fruition.
Yeah, so Death Note is about a guy that a kid, 18-year-old kid that finds a notebook, and when you write something on the notebook, when you write a name in the notebook, that person dies. That person dies by a heart attack by default, or you could describe how this person actually passes away. So this is all in the first episode, so it's not any spoilers or anything, but he starts taking out criminals, people that he sees on the news, people that he sees in newspapers. He starts taking out these criminals because he wants to make a world with no criminals, with no crime. Well, obviously, you know, he thinks he's doing a good thing, but the cops are like, all right, all these people are dying. There has to be a murderer. And the cops start coming after him. Then he wants to kill the cops that are on his tail. And then it goes into everything. And there's this really cool monster that's with him that is actually his book that our main character, Light, has. And
what's the main character's name?
Ryuk. R-Y-U-K.
What's the main character's name going to be in the live-action American series?
The main character's name is Light.
Light, like there's a light on in my room here?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's better than Shadow, right?
It could be.
Did there? Light and Shadow?
It could be.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be better. Trust me.
But I think they changed his name to Light Turner, which is not his name. Which is not his name. So they're trying to Americanize him, but that's not his name. And it's like, you know, Light Yamaguchi or something.
I got to shut my phone off.
But yeah. So anyway, I'm on episode 19, and I talked to you. Me and you went and we're talking today, and if I could watch something like the Death Note anime all the time for the rest of my life, I think I'd be okay with that. Just like
just Death Note, or do you want to watch one of those series that we've established go on forever and ever? And what did DBZ have 290
some episodes? Just something that's like anime that is this good. And you were telling me about Cowboy Bebop, and you were telling Cowboy
Bebop was my go-to. Get someone into anime to watch this, and if you liked it, I could figure out something more for you.
You think that if I'm taking this medium as anime and really enjoying it, that I'm definitely going to enjoy Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, hell yeah. There's not one thing about Cowboy Bebop that anybody wouldn't enjoy. That's why I would use it as that gateway anime. And I should be ashamed of myself for not continuing forward with my anime as I should have in the past. But again, like TV happened, movies happened, like all this stuff came together. And I'm just like, well, who has the time to sit down and keep up with this series? And like, there was no time. I'm gonna make a more of a return this year. I'm going to watch Death Note as you're watching it and figure out what's so great about it. But if they're starting to recommend it like Cowboy Bebop, then it's going to be really good, because Cowboy Bebop's like it's easy for someone to watch. It's not super long. It's really entertaining. It's easy to get to know the characters, and before you know it, you're just having a blast with like a space cowboy opera. You know.
One of the reasons they say that Death Note is so good is because it takes out a lot of the things that people look down on anime for, like the tropes, like the little like cute things, or like, you know, the random panty shot or like dumb shit that they pull in their animes.
I'm gonna let you know that those random panty shots are not random. No, that is not a mistake, and it's not random.
This is something I read, like when I was looking up like why Death Note is so popular. This is what I was reading, like the anime tropes, like the stupid perverted shit, the like weird happy, you know, like those you know, like Dragon Ball Z, the and like their face.
That's them reaction. They're reacting to an impossible situation around them.
I mean, there's some of it, but it's nothing like bad. But I guess just the bit things that turn people off from anime were not really upfront in Death Note. But like I said, I'm going in the rabbit hole, and I don't know if I'm gonna come out, because this is one of the coolest, most fun shows I've ever watched in my life. And
I'm glad you're liking it. I'm glad you're giving it a shot. You're gonna have a lot of fun with this stuff. The only problem you're gonna run into is the same problem I run into. Who has the time to do everything? Like,
yeah. Like I said, though, it's so nice because when you say, we talk about this all the time. I want to get in the Arrow. All right. Well, I hope you,
good luck.
I hope you have 7 seasons of 24 hours, like, to spare.
Okay, yeah. So if you wanted to get in the Arrow, to which I made it to season 3 or 4 before, and it was getting kind of ridiculous, but the story was still interweaved in between the past and the future. But the CW is back in that Arrow horse as well as it can. So every season is around 24 episodes, and every show would be like 42, 45 minutes without commercials. And yeah, you have an impossible endeavor, like, to be able to like take on. So like, what do you do? There's all this stuff from Marvel out there. There's all this stuff out for DC out there. If you want to be a fan of all of it, and it is an exciting time. How do you make the time to be able to do all this? The coolest thing about some of these anime shows that we are going to embark on to watch is that they are around 20 minutes. Get rid of the beginning scene. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to watch the intro every time or the outro. So
right. And while we're on the top, well, before we get onto that topic, yeah, the cool thing is that, especially with me, like, you see how it is. Like, I got home from work today. Me and you went on a walk just to like get some, you know, to get exercise in, and then I come home, like, shave, shower, and it's 8 o'clock at night. I gotta be up at 5:30. Like, and we're starting.
Yeah, 5:30 rolls around fast.
Like, I'm not gonna be sitting there in just 24 hours. Like, I literally would have to give up my writing, my everything. And I asked one of my buddies, and I said, dude, because he's like, what'd he say? He said he was watching something. Oh, he's watching Supernatural, which is the same shit.
Oh, like, my God.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm burning through Supernatural. I'm like, how?
That's what I'm tying apart, because Supernatural is the lead show on the CW, which we just mentioned with the Arrow. And they have, I'm almost current on Supernatural, but I started a long time ago.
Yeah.
And when we were trying to catch up, they only had like 5 or 6 seasons. And I was taking out X amount of time a night, every single night, and it took months to catch up. And that's their lead show. They're never going to let it die. We didn't know whether it was going to stop at season 10, and it went past. I mean, they're gonna, that's the same situation with the Arrow. You want to watch Supernatural, you'll have a lot of fun, but oh my God, I can't even remember what happened in like seasons 1 to 3, and they were the most important ones.
I said to him, I said, how are you doing? And he goes, I watch it at work. I go, all right, well, now we see.
Nice.
Now when you have 8-hour chunks to just waste, or not waste, but to watch on Supernatural or whatever you want, you know, now it's not too bad, because in like 2 days you got 16 episodes done. Like,
oh my God, I don't have that luxury at work. I know you don't either.
Yeah, so So the cool thing is with these animes is that, you know, I could go upstairs, pop one on, like you said, 20 minutes, and I'm turning over and I'm going to bed. And
I'm trying to get inventive too. I'm going to throw them on my phone and see if I can get a 20-minute walk-in and watch one at the same time.
Yeah, so that's cool. But Netflix, while we're on the subject,
let you download? Because I have a subscription to Netflix. They have a good amount of anime.
Yeah.
Here's a funny story. One time somebody was filling out a list, one of my coworkers, and the list on Netflix was designed to make sure that they would get the recommendations and the recommended experience that they should, based upon what they chose and what they liked. So she's filling this out, and it asks her if she likes anime, and she says no really quickly. And then like 20 questions later, let's say, it asks her if she likes like lesbian anime, and she's like, no. Like, what? If I didn't want anime, why would I want that? Okay. So she fills out all the stuff, and she thinks she has it down to a point where, wow, this is going to be great. Its little algorithm is going to figure out what I need, and I'm going to be able to get recommendations to watch all the things I love. And then it ends, and it's like, we recommend for you lesbian anime. And she's like, no. And so it still tries to give her all these like recommendations, and she goes, but I filled everything out, and it gave me something I basically said no to like 2 or 3 times. I'm just like, oh wow, well, good luck with that. And maybe you want to switch like your Netflix account and not do the survey or whatever that list was.
Yeah, so I sent you a link if you have it there.
Yeah.
Netflix announced 12 animes coming up on their that's going to be exclusive to them.
Yeah. Well, don't forget about Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll's worth it.
Right. I'd never checked that out. I'll have to. But one of them that's cool is there's going to be a Godzilla Monster Planet. The film takes place in 2048, years after Earth has been taken over by kaiju. After discovering that a planet they plan to colonize uninhabitable. Wow. A group of humans decide to take back their home world from the monster's clutches. Godzilla Monster Planet will come to Netflix this November. So, I mean, dude, I'm going down this rabbit hole, and it's gonna be fantastic. But you got to watch Death Note because we're going to watch on August 28th the live action and see if we could.
Sure, I'll try it out.
We could see if we could. Are we going to throw up? Or
funny story was, as I already tried to figure out that I was going to watch Death Note last summer when I was making up a list of things to kind of do. Never got to it, but definitely gonna check it out. I'm excited that it's not going to take either of us too long to watch it all.
Right. So yeah. So then we're gonna go on. So we're gonna watch it. We'll talk about it on here.
Yeah.
But you have a topic now.
We'll move over to I was covering some footage for the not covering. I was trying to watch all the footage that's out there for Mayweather Mayweather, and I watched the press conferences in their entirety that happened in Los Angeles and Ontario. I didn't get to London or New York, but I learned that you have to watch these completely, whether it be an hour and a half or 2.5 hours, because Showtime, who's also going to put on the pay-per-view, is like cutting them like they're slicing and dicing them. They'll take something that took an hour and 30 minutes and they make it a minute and 30 seconds, and they make it look like, oh, this is how Mayweather did that, this is how this happened. And like, if you just go to compare the LA one, watch all of it, and then watch the minute and 30 seconds that Showtime cuts for it, and you'll be like, wow, none of that happened like that remotely. Like they messed things up. We waited a real long time for it to start. There was some weird, like, kind of like rap dance music act in the beginning, which had no place there. like the microphones weren't working the right way. They kept cutting Connor's mic. I think they told him it was just a Q&A, and then like it wasn't a Q&A. Mayweather would like start to talk, and then he'd get like this 1,000-yard stare. He'd be like, oh. and then then he'd remember, I think, lines that he was supposed to be told to say, and then when things are cut together in the like minute and 30-second trailer, you watch that, and it's like it's hypocritical to even watch it after watching what actually happened. It's absolutely ridiculous. Still looking forward to checking out that fight, just to see what happens as far as like a spectator's event supposed to be. And I'll get back to you with more after I finish the whole. A little bit more of Ontario, and then New York, and then London, and then I'll have a complete picture of how the tour did and what they're trying to do. Honestly, I can tell what they're trying to do with it. They're trying to make like, well, near the end of it, they're probably going to try to make like Connor's in his head or talking. This is his role, and that might have an adverse outcome on this entire boxing event. But it's just all build-up stuff. It's a story, you know. I'm sorry to ruin anything. I'm not really ruining anything. You can kind of just read between the lines on this one.
Yeah. You're still taking that there's no way Connor wins, huh?
Well, if you wanted to act like you were being paid by Fox, which the one analyst is there in between, there'll be 3 people on these tours, and so far in LA and Ontario, the one that's basically being paid by whoever to say that Connor's going to win and this is exactly how he's going to do it is Brendan Schaub he was an MMA fighter. I think he retired to do like podcasts and stuff like that. But I don't know. He's just he's lying through his teeth. Whether he has an opinion or not, that's up to him. I think I caught something where like Frank Mir was saying that he was obviously being paid to say what he's having to say, like on the sidebar of recommendations for you for what you watch on YouTube. I just kind of looked over, read the line, and moved on from it. But if you watch any of this stuff, which I'll try to find like a more condensed version for you to check out, you'll see how they're kind of like they're just building it to be able to sell it to you, so you go and you get it. Like everyone's going to make a lot of money as far as both parties. We know that, so we'll just see what happens that night.
Yeah.
It could be a very boring night, like the night you and I watched him against Pac-Man.
Yeah, it was boring.
That was just, I don't know. I think I counted the rounds, and when I knew that he would have decision, I got up and left. Oh no, I probably got up, hit my head off that short door doorway. It's a very small doorway. Probably hit my head off that. Bruised ego or not, I got in my truck and drove home.
Bruised ego
and head. Hey, how about George Romero?
Well, you know what? We are going to talk about George, but I want to ask you, because you might know a little bit more about this. So George Romero, we're going to start, but we're just going to say that we had the passing of George, Martin Landau, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park, your favorite band.
I love Linkin Park.
Yeah, you were just...
I'm singing it to you today. I'm singing lyrics. We were doing lyrics.
Yeah, so we had some pretty big passings. I'll go into it. I'm going to go into it first with Linkin Park, because they were, real big part of my childhood. I'm new metal through and through, and it sucked. It sucked because even though we weren't going to get a Hybrid Theory or a Meteora anytime soon from them, and especially that their new album was just a straight up pop album.
No, bands always do this, and then they say the next album's going to be like the old stuff or the good stuff, or their first stuff, or return to old, or it's going to be like our first album.
Their last
one
was good. They said it was going to go back to it, and it wasn't that, but there was some good screams and some heavy tunes on it. It was really good. But what I was talking, that they get a lot of shit, but the thing is that they always showcased, even in their slower songs or whatever, that Chester had a really, really, really great voice. And he wasn't just all about screaming, and whatever they wanted to do, with their sound, they always showcased that, and they always showed you that the dude had just an incredible voice. And it sucks because you don't know, dude was young, and you don't know where, they would have gone or what they would have put out. I'm not against slower stuff, and if he just put out some great, if he just went all Elton John on us and just started singing some cool tunes, I mean.
Okay, wait a minute. I know it's a sensitive subject, and the topic's going to be what it is, but I don't think Chester was ever going to aspire to be like Elton John or Billy Joel.
He could have sang Rocket Man.
I don't know. The Rocket Man's already been sung by Elton John. Can he cover Rocket Man? Yeah, sure, he can do that. Was he going to cover it? Probably not.
Meteora Man.
Okay, Meteora Man. And it'll sound just like Rocket Man, and he'll get sued. Or would have.
But I wanted to acknowledge that. But I also wanted to bring up Martin Landau because I wanted to ask you.
Go for it.
If you, I don't know anything about him, but have you seen Ed Wood?
Yeah, it was awesome.
What is it? Now, I know Martin Landau plays Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, he does.
And
I want to rewatch that show now that we're talking about it.
Really? Is it a comedy? Is it?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a dark comedy. Martin Landau plays Bela Lugosi in Ed Wood, and it's I'm remembering it now. It was good. It was a really good. Oh wow, it was a really good film. I'd recommend anyone to watch Ed Wood. We should watch it and try to review it because that is worth it. Absolutely. He was in the X-Files. He was in a lot of stuff. God, his film career started at 59, I think. And he went all the way to like 2017. And that's not to mention like television. Television, he started in 57. He went to 2014.
Jesus. Yeah, I wanted to mention that because I wanted to ask you about that movie because I looked at it and I'm like, this is like something I want to watch. And
yes, absolutely. Ed Wood's a must watch.
all right, then I'll have to watch it. But yeah, so then we come to George Romero. And what can we say about George Romero besides without George Romero, you'd have no Walking Dead?
Someone eventually would have came up with zombies, but he was the one that put out Night of the Living Dead
How
in
good of a
68.
movie is Night of the Living Dead, though? Don't forget, I mean, you had.
Nobody made stuff like that in 68. You were watching something that was like already ahead of its time.
Don't forget, too, you had a black main character.
Which was risky.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do shit like that back then. So
yeah, no, like that's what I meant. You're watching something that no one was trying to pull off at that time. Like he was making some pretty bold moves back then, and it really paid off. I mean, the whole Night of the Living Dead thing after that, he made so many movies that did involve zombies, yes, but I think he has a lot of movies out there that we should explore that doesn't have anything to do with zombies at all, and see what he was trying to do and what take he was like I think he had one that was called Martin, where that was his take on vampires, and if a vampire had to live, just in the world he made there or our world. And what I'm saying is that maybe we should check out some of his other stuff, and it's unfortunate that like this had to happen for us to even be having this conversation.
Right. I mean, yeah. What did I? Besides, he did
Creep Show and Creep Show too.
Oh yeah, Creep Shows. I mean, I love them. I love them. Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. I love when I was growing up. I mean that intro music would just scare the living shit out of me.
Which was the remake? Did he do a remake of his own in '90 for Night of the Living Dead? I can't remember.
Yeah, he was a writer on it.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't.
Dawn of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, Day of the Dead.
The Crazies, Jesus.
The Crazies. I watched the Crazies.
Crazies was awesome, but even both the remake.
That's right. Crazies was a remake. He did Crazies in '73, then remade it in 2010.
I mean, my favorite. See, I love as I get older, I love black and white stuff. I really love it. I've been watching the Twilight Zones too, but like when I go to bed, when I fall asleep, just because I don't know, the black and white makes me all feel all cozy. But
doesn't the Twilight Zone theme mess with you while you're trying to sleep? Like you can do 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 do.
No.
Really?
No, dude. No. It's either that or listen to Joe Rogan talk.
Oh God!
To
his sensei master, Eddie Bravo. Oh, I don't have anyone to interview. I'll put Eddie on the show.
But yeah,
we shouldn't be laughing. Joe Rogan probably makes like $75K off of just podcasting.
Yeah, we had a legend passed. I mean, they said it was lung cancer that took him. It was just a brief fight, but he died in his sleep. Probably one of the best ways to go, and we're going to miss those things, those movies. I mean, Dawn of the Dead. That was when I watched that. I couldn't believe how gory it was, the original.
Yeah.
And then I enjoyed the remakes and all that, but it was also in a time where there was no zombie fever like there is now. Like now, if I see a zombie,
oh my God,
I want to throw up.
Hey, what happens? You don't want to watch your Walking Dead or your spin-off series, Fear the Walking Dead?
I'd rather stick a needle in my eye.
I just had a conversation with someone who I was on the phone with today when I got in the car with you, and he says when he sees Fear the Walking Dead on like guides and channels and stuff like that, he just quickly skips past it. That's how much he can. I'm watching it. It's okay. It's not a poor man's like Walking Dead, but like it took a while to get going. And Walking Dead, I don't know. I didn't like the series ender as we described and talked about together.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I mean, it is. Yeah, you're right. Like Walking Dead started, everybody went crazy. Like I remember walking into to buy used like zombie-esque video games, and the prices all flew up on the used ones that were $5 like not even a day ago because it had zombies in it. I was like, all right, this is getting to be a tad much. And this is when it all started.
Yeah, man, too many people about this Walking Dead bullshit.
Are you ever gonna watch again, or are you done?
No, I won't watch it again. I'm out. Unless it comes back and they're like, oh my god, and they're like, all right, like in 2 seasons, they'll be like, it's amazing. This is the greatest season ever, and I'm like, shit,
like that.
Now,
everything starts to decline after a while.
Yeah, but the Negan story was my favorite story in the book of all time. We already discussed this. Like,
yeah, it's still going, so
it should crush it. Like, it should be amazing. Oh, on that note,
how are we doing on time?
Robert Kirkman's.
Okay.
Robert Kirkman's Skybound is now going to be putting out novels too. He has Skybound novels, which is not going to be just comic books. So I think they said 4 to 6 a year. So that's pretty cool because I still love Kirkman. And I love things he does. Invincible is one of my favorite superhero books of all time.
Did he have any other series that he wanted to be able to try to launch that wasn't like The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead?
Show he has Outcast.
Which there you go, Outcast. That's on like a pay channel, right?
I think they launched like simultaneously too.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that one, so maybe I'll check it out.
I watched episode 1. It was awesome.
Was it good?
And then I read like 18 issues of it, and it was awesime. And then
you realized you're doing like 10 things at once.
No, it's because of how comics are, dude. Like, I like to read it in chunks. But I don't want to read a trade that's 6 issues and then wait a year or half a year to get the next trade. Like, the comic distribution sucks. And I know they can't do anything because you got to do the artist and you got to do this and you got to do that. So I'm not saying like it sucks, like fuck you, but I'm just saying that I like to wait a year and then digest those 2 story arcs. And how I read comics is that I'll read, say something's out for 2 years, so you have 24 issues. I'll read 24 issues. I won't start again till like literally 2 years later when it's at issue 48. And then when I do that, I start from 1 and go back to 48. So I read the first 24 again and then go into 48. Because, I mean, it doesn't take that long to read a comic book.
Oh, I hear you. I was going to try to read a bunch of the actual Walking Dead ones after you recommended me to, and someone else recommended to. And I got to like issue 3, and I just realized I didn't have the time to be able to do it. But oddly enough, we were talking about the Dark Tower, which is getting awful critic reviews right now. And I started reading through the graphic novel for that one rather than ever having to worry about their like 7 gigantic books or whatever. So it's pretty good. That's all I can say. We'll see what happens with that series.
I can't wait to hear what you say about it. And you could spoil it and everything. I don't give a fuck.
Okay, fine.
Because they're going to do a show now, they said. The rumor is.
Oh, okay. Well, they might need to. They might not have enough time to be able to do a trilogy just for the movies.
I mean, they're never going to be able to beat it because there's no Matthew McConaughey, but...
Oh, my God. Thank God. That would be awesome if the Man in Black is not Matthew McConaughey in any other version of this.
I hope he's the Man in Black in both.
Yeah, right? They'll do something strange, like they made Broadchurch in the UK, and David Tennant played like the detective or the one of the main characters, and like they made an Americanized version of it, Grace Point, in America and with American cast and everything. And it's kind of the same story, but they casted David Tennant again in the same exact role that he played in the UK, and I was just like, well, this works because he is the role. But it's funny. It's like they just gave him the same stuff to do, but one time he had to use his natural kind of like Scottish accent, and he had to work on having an American accent for, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Luck would have it that would happen with Matthew McConaughey in this series or story.
All right, let's call it.
Okay.
Back. We might have to do an emergency one to hear how bad do you hate the Dark Tower.
I don't hate it. I flipped by something on the internet and it just said that the critics are already giving the first movie awful reviews. I'm still trying to get into the second book as far as the graphic novels go, which is pretty cool. I showed them to you, I think, and we'll see what happens. Hey, we'll be talking about it. That's for sure. Oh yeah.
All right. As always, if you enjoy this, please give us a like. Hit the subscribe button so you can get an update every 3 weeks when we update.
Just click it.
No, we'll be more frequent. I promise.
Yes.
And
good. That's what we were saying. That's exactly what we were saying when we became not frequent. It's the B+ podcast. B+. Get it?
Good night.